I had a chat before coming here with a lot of experts, and no one loves it, but everyone watches it.
The series itself jumps around in a sometimes slightly confusing way from all sorts of different countries. But that, in many ways, represents quite accurately the way that organised crime has become a transnational market.
Although it's transnational, there is a categorical disjunction with the way in which we control and provide accountability for these activities, which are all occurring on national level. So we've got a complete mismatch.
This is not a single group that can carry heroin from Afghanistan all the way to Moscow. No, it's a collaboration between Tajiks and Kyrgyz, with Kazakhs and with Russians. Georgians have contributed disproportionately to Soviet and post-Soviet organized crime. When Soviet Union broke up, 32% of criminal leaders, so-called thieves-in-law, we are Georgian. At the same time, Georgians own 2% of the population of Soviet Union.
Welcome to the modern underworld. There are, of course, lots and lots of gangs, but they are in some ways the nodes within these huge criminal transnational networks.
So it often surprises people to learn that 100 years ago, or slightly more than 100 years ago, there was just as much concern about trafficking in women, sex trafficking, as there is today. Arguably, maybe even more. It was seen as a huge sort of global social problem. Traffickers from the Russian Empire, who were usually coded in the Russian discussion as Jewish, Jewish traffickers were kidnapping blonde Slavic women and then forcing them into prostitution abroad, especially in the Ottoman Empire. When you actually look at what happened, you see that this was actually very rarely the case.
So why is it that the Russians have proven to be so effective in this global marketplace for criminal goods and services? Part of it is because in the 1990s, when they really emerged, there was pressure to get the hell out of Russia, or at least get your money out of Russia. Back in the 1990s, there was a belief, a fear that it was possible that the communists or some kind of fascistic regime or whatever could take power. This was happening at a time when in Russia itself the boundaries between business, crime and politics were particularly, I wouldn't even say fluid, often just simply imperceptible.
Blurred boundaries are actually created by double standards, double think, double deed, double motivation. If you're clear-cut on what's bad and what's good, what's black, what's white, there is no issue. The problem is that life is in the grey. And it's when you try to address what's in the grey, you have a lack of conceptual tools, because the dichotomy of black and white does not describe it. You could not really qualify politician as corrupt or non-corrupt. Very often, you might know he is corrupt. You might have evidence that he is corrupt or testimonies of people. You could not prove it in law.
McMafia shows that organized crime is using violence widely. We know that much of the organized crime kind of became legal at the end of the 90s and especially in the 2000s. Since they are now legal businessmen, they prefer to solve things without violence. Smuggling, white drug smuggling in Central Asia is so peaceful compared to what's happening in Mexico or in Central America, is that there's a monopolist that is affiliated with the states. I've been looking across the cases in Caucasus, Central Asia, and many of the patterns are replicated. But often the state-affiliated individuals, they are not just peripheral actors. They are not only the people who provide protection and who accept bribe in exchange of protection. They are pretty much complicit themselves. They are playing a central role in this.
Now, in the late 19th century, early 20th century in Russia, we can see, first of all, how it pretty easily feeds into anti-Semitic stereotypes. stereotypes that were very common at the time about Jewish criminalities. So you can understand then why I might have some skepticism when I see this narrative recapitulated for me on the television on Sunday night. What bothered me, I think, the most about McMafia, it's the fact that it started to be talked about in the media as if this was the truth. So just from 2 days ago, we had a column in the Telegraph which said, quote, "McMafia is a documentary, not a drama. We need to pay far closer attention to Russian activity in the city."
UK has got that offshore zones under their jurisdiction. In fact, British lawyers are feeding off those type of transactions on daily basis.
What do you want? What do you need? Because we can probably get it for you. You want drugs? We got heroin. You want hackers? We got hackers. You want killers? We got killers too. The Russian criminals have emerged in this second wave internationally precisely as the wholesalers, the one-stop shop for everyone else's gangsters. So they are the service providers for the global underworld now. We are the service providers for the criminal service providers.